Welcome to Supernaut, where we explore the inner and outer dimensions of the self. Mike Karnick is our guest today. He's on for the second time. The first time went so good, we thought, why not do it again? Get an update and get into some deeper topics like depression and the effects of alcoholism with parents and spouses. So I asked you to pick a song for us to listen to today. Before we started, what song did you pick?
I went with Wasteland by the band 10 Years this time.
What made you pick this song?
So the guitar player on that in the band, or he's no longer with the band, is just about 11 years sober now. And I met him through an acquaintance and spent some time with that band when they were in town and gone out to St. Louis and spent time with them. And so him and I had partied pretty hard quite a few times. And when I decided to get sober, I actually reached out to him via Facebook, and we had about a 3-day conversation. And he never said what was going on in his life at the time, but he had mentioned that I reached out at an unbelievable time and he needed it. So just kind of back and forth with my sobriety, I've kept in touch with him. And
But he's been sober for 11 years?
Yeah, he's now been sober.
But he was having a hard time when you reached out.
When I reached out, he didn't say what it was. He just said he needed it. God has a funny way of reaching out, and asked if he could post our conversation on his social media stuff. And I said, yeah, I don't care. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, Ryan lives in Nashville, and he's recording Christian music and doing well for himself. But it was.
So when you say you partied, was that before the 11 years of him being sober, or
So he left the band probably 6, 7, 8 years ago now. I mean, it was probably 11 years, 10 years, I think, because he left when he got sober. Prior to that, a friend of mine worked for the band.
Okay.
So every time they were in town, I'd go meet up with them, and yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Sometimes when you think of somebody and you text them and then it ends up being the perfect time, I think, every time, whether I'm busy or not, if somebody pops into my head, I do everything I can to make sure to reach out to them, because where is that sign coming from?
Right.
It must be coming from something divine.
And it was crazy because when you had reached out and asked me to do this a second time is when he posted that he was almost 11 years, almost 100,000 hours of sobriety. It was the same day. I was like, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah. So. Yeah, it's all intertwined.
Yeah.
I like it. So how's it been since your last episode? Did you get a lot of feedback?
I have, yeah. A lot of people watched it. A lot of people reached out and, hey, you did a great job. Didn't know that side of me. I mean, again, I kept the issue at bay, but out in public, but I was, it is what it is. So yeah, it was good feedback though.
Yeah, I had a lot of people.
Last I looked, there was close to like 400 people watched it or something. So
yeah.
And
it's crazy if you think about 100 people in a room.
Yeah.
Times 4.
My employer watched it. Relatives watched it. People that I've worked with years ago that live in other states watched it. I was like,
yeah.
So it travels. So
right. Yeah, I got a lot of comments. I think it helped a lot of people for you to be that open and vulnerable.
Good.
What else has changed for you since then?
The biggest change for me has been the relationship with Katie.
Your wife?
My wife. For 18 years being an alcoholic, she was in love or married to that Mike, and then all of a sudden you change because it's for the better. And it was like falling back in love with somebody new again, and learning different things we can do, different places we can go, different people
and
to
your
hang
real
out with.
Personality.
Luckily for me, I think she seen that through the alcoholism for all those years, because I don't know how she put up with it. And she's a godsend for putting up with it, but 17 years of it, and she was still there, so.
So rekindling that flame?
Yeah, learning the new normal, things that she enjoyed that I didn't as an alcoholic and didn't want to partake in. So she had stopped asking me to do it, and now that I'm sober and want to be involved more. She was kind of taken back when she would make plans, and I'd be like, well, hey, I want to do that with you. And, pickleball was one thing, hiking, walking, just different things that wasn't something I cared to do because you weren't going to have beer or booze when you're out hiking at a state forest. But so it was a learning curve for her. And again, for me to realize that I was now infringing on some of her stuff that was important to her that she had done alone for so long, and now I wanted to be there. So
Was she ever like, back off, this is my thing?
she never said back off, but there's been times where she's taken back and is like, I've never had to ask you because you would always say no, or you would always say this is dumb, or if you came, you always wanted to leave early. So talking it through and being like, no, I really want to do this with you. And just letting her, when I was drinking, she is always with me to make sure I was safe. So if we went out, she would always come just so she knew I was safe. Where now, like her birthday, she wanted to go out with her friends and do something special for herself. But it was awkward because it's like, wait, we've never not been together. What are you doing? So it was one of those conversations where I was like, you don't want to spend your birthday with your family? And at first I took it as she didn't want to be around me because we're still in this learning curve. And then I sat there and I reflected one night and I was like, well, no, she just has never got to do anything for herself. Like this is something she just wants to do and go back to the old Katie.
Yeah.
So
When dynamics change, even if it's for the good, it takes them a while to get used to.
right. Yeah. And just change in general, good or bad, takes time to get used to. And in this case, it's been a great change, but it's been hard on me, almost as hard as quitting drinking, because the stuff that I didn't care to do, she's wondering if I just care now because it's been 17 years of not caring, or if it's something I'm really interested in. So,
But you are interested in all of it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, more so on just interested in other things other than drinking, or other things other than what we were doing that led me down to always wanting to drink.
What are some examples of the things you guys have been doing?
Pickleball. Started. We've only gone out a couple times, once or twice, but with Katie's mom and dad moving back in and things going on. But that was something new. Walks. We've just been going on walks. I've down probably 40 pounds since the last time I was on here. So
Nice.
30 some pounds. So yeah, that's a huge thing.
That's a
Things
lot,
like that. Movie nights, like the kids go get snacks at the dollar store and we just watch a movie. Where before it was like, not gonna do this. I'm gonna go somewhere else, sit in the garage or whatever. So, yeah.
What's the biggest change that you've seen in yourself and how you see yourself?
I've been more involved in our church, per se. I mean, I've been going to church. We've gone to a few adult Bible studies on Wednesday nights. My daughter goes to youth group Wednesday nights. So Katie and I will stay and hang out. We've downloaded a Bible app just to kind of read, and I was never really a big Christian per se, but you start seeing things like talking to Ryan at the right time, or you reaching out, and there's obviously something more there. So that's the biggest change I've seen.
Yeah, no kidding. So you said you wanted to talk about depression.
Yeah. When after I left here and I was talking to the guys in my AA group, we were just shooting the crap one day and ended up reading a study that like 50% to 60% of alcoholics battle depression. And I didn't think I was ever depressed. I was just an alcoholic. And then when I started going through being sober and the change and learning the new normal, it started hitting me. Things in the past that I would start drinking because I was thinking about, like now I'm not drinking and now I'm still thinking about it. So it got dark for, I don't know, probably 6, 7 months recently. And Katie noticed it and was like, hey, you should probably see someone, talk to someone. So I reached out, talked to a guy in St. Cloud, started seeing a therapist, and they put me on some antidepressants and it's helped. But that was as big of a learning curve as it was to quit drinking, that things come up and all of a sudden my old go-to was I'm just gonna start drinking. Where now it's like, what are you gonna do? Now you sit
Hmm.
there and fester in it, and luckily Katie noticed it before it got too bad. So
Yeah, because I think when you're in it, it's hard to even know that you're in it.
I didn't want to admit I was in it. I didn't, it was hard enough to admit I was an alcoholic and to come out of that.
Yeah, because life is supposed to be brand new and shiny and perfect,
Right.
and
I fixed the problem. What do you mean there's another one? You know,
hmm.
um,
So have you gone back to where the alcoholism stemmed from?
we started. We're not, I don't know that we're totally there yet with the therapist, but we're
Hmm.
getting there.
Takes a while.
Yeah, it's, I didn't realize certain things I've kept festering inside me that now that I'm clear headed and whatnot, I kind of look back like, what are you really that upset about something like that? Something that
Mm.
was said, so, someone did something 25 years ago and I'm still holding on to it. And you never thought I was until all of a sudden I'm sitting there in my living room, something triggers it and get upset. And yeah.
Hmm. A psychic I talked to over the phone one time, I was talking about how, like, no, my childhood was great. I have no reason. And she was like, any small thing is okay to be upset about and be hurt by, you know?
Yeah.
So those small things that we think are silly and we shouldn't be upset about, to our younger selves, especially if we were pretty young, is important to
Right.
deal with.
Yeah. I mean, I had mom and dad at home. It wasn't that I wouldn't say that I was ever without. It was just, stepmom was involved, stepsisters, stepbrothers. Like there were things that all of a sudden we start talking about it, and I was like, "That's that comment was made, or this was
Hmm.
said," and I tell my kids, I'm like, "I had a great upbringing." I mean,
Yeah.
but then you start thinking about it. Nope, that's still back there.
And repressing it doesn't help. Then
No
it turns into alcoholism or some other
addiction of
problem.
anything. Yeah, I mean,
Hmm.
fortunate for me, it was alcohol and not drugs like my brother. But yeah,
Hmm. So you like this therapist? You found
yeah,
one you liked right away?
I've gone. He was the second one that I went to. The first one, I don't know that it was the right fit for me.
Hmm.
Um, Not that he was bad, but it didn't click. Like he'd
Yeah.
ask questions and I'd answer it, and I'd be like, "All right, cool," and I left. And where this guy, he'll ask me a question or we'll get into a topic, and he'll sit back and let me just kind of go for a minute, and then he'll ask a question in a way that gets me to really think, and then and then all of a sudden he's got the "oh gotcha" moment. There it is. See,
Hmm.
it's like oh,
Hmm.
so
Yeah, I didn't know I could like one as much as I like this one. I probably had three or four in my life and only for short periods of time, probably under a year each. But this one, I'm like, can you move in?
yeah, right. Yeah,
I
what
have
do
a
we gotta
free I
do?
have a free basement.
Yeah, that's it's a good thing. Then you think about it with my son, who's now going to be 18 soon. Like he lived with this all of his life.
Mm,
So Katie and I talked, and we were like, maybe we should have him talk to someone. Because
mhm.
again, he says he's fine. He doesn't. They seem happy. It's not like they're shying away from me anymore, or nothing like that. But just now, me getting in touch with what was still there, like you said, one little thing can do it. So we have him now talking to a guy, and I think he has his second one tonight with him, so hopefully he doesn't forget. But
Yeah.
last week or 2 weeks ago when he had it, he come back upstairs and, Dad, I really like that guy. And, he just talked to me about hockey, and it's like, good, he'll get to where he needs to be. I'll let it be. So
Yeah, because I don't think there's a single human being that doesn't have things from their childhood that hurt them.
right, yeah, I
Hmm.
I don't know anyone that can say they haven't. And learning of some of the things that I did in the past, and talking with Katie, and talking to Blake and even Allison at 15, things that I didn't think were bad
Mm.
were bad.
Hmm.
We don't want to tell you this happened because you used to get really upset about it. really upset isn't just yelling or really upset because things didn't get done, like never physical, nothing like that. But so
Mhm.
now when you're sober and you're trying to make amends for everything, and it's like Katie will tell me, oh, you know, this happened at school today. Why didn't no one tell me? Because they don't want to get yelled at. Oh, oh, okay.
Mhm. Mhm. Well, how beautiful that you've changed the household dynamic so drastically already while they're still home.
Trying
Instead
to,
of them
yeah.
off at college and you're like, "Hey, see a therapist. I get it
Right,
now."
yeah, I get it. That was my biggest fear was, him moving out to college this coming up summer, and then him calling us and why didn't you guys offer this? Why didn't you guys,
Mhm.
because I think that's where I was with my parents. Like, hey, you knew this stuff was going on. You knew this stuff was being said to, my sister and I. Like, why wasn't, and I guess in the 80s and 90s it wasn't as prevalent as it is now.
Mhm.
But now you start seeing, like we talked earlier, in suicides of people, the rate is so high now, and it's like it needs to be talked about.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, definitely. How would you describe your depression to somebody who's never felt it before?
for me, it can hit me like a ton of bricks out of nowhere, and I'm fortunate enough Katie sees it and is just like, do you just go in the room, hang out? I'll be in there. Do you need anything? And it can be anything. It can be we'd be sitting there watching a movie and something will happen or be said and it'll just trigger it and I'll be like, I'm just gonna step away. Not that I've ever broken down in front of my kids or anything like that. Not that it would be a bad thing, but it's like it just feels like a ton of bricks back on my shoulders, and it's like, so I'll walk away, breathe a little bit, and be like, "You're fine. It's good." And talk to the therapist the next Wednesday or whatever. So,
Mhm.
um, just real tight pressure on the shoulders and chest area is how it feels for me.
It's really heavy and tight.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. So is that more anxiety or
I thought
depression?
so.
I'm not
I
sure.
I, I thought maybe anxiety before I started seeing this guy.
Mhm.
And I was like, well, I'm just anxious now because everything's new and turning out. But then you start talking to him, and it's kind of a buildup of anxiety and the depression. Like, again, 3 years ago, that feeling comes up. I'm going to the fridge and grabbing a drink.
Mhm.
Now I can't go to the fridge and grab a drink, and I got to deal with it.
Yeah. There's a hole there. So what are you going to fill it with now? And it seems like you have so many new hobbies and activities that you're doing. But maybe does it come down to like some kind of practice? I mean, you're going to church more now too.
Yeah. I think the church thing is what's really helping, the reading of the Bible. And I don't want to be the stereotypical, oh, Jesus did all, that's
Yeah.
not where we're going with this. It's just there was a hole there. There
Mhm.
was there was something, and you start listening to other people's just life stories, not even that they're an alcoholic or they're depressed, but people go through crap all the time
Mhm.
and seeing how they deal with it. And I think that's helped me. So, you go to adult Bible study and they just talk about their day, and
Mhm.
all of a sudden the little thing that might have set me off or kind of triggered the depression that day was minute. And then you're sitting there listening to somebody that, you know, lost a job that day or
Mhm.
whatever it be. And you realize the world's much larger than that. And it's okay to talk to somebody when something like that happens. So
Mhm. And do you talk to God in the moment when it happens too? Or is it just when you're at church or at these Bible studies?
lately I have. Lately, Katie's mom has recently went through a medical procedure. And I knew Katie was pretty upset about it, worried. Her mom's getting up there in age, and I bet I prayed every day for 2 weeks. You know,
Mhm.
good recovery and everything to go well, and it was a heart procedure, and she had it done, and she was at my house the next day cooking with Allison. Like,
Mhm.
4 years ago, I think it was, she had a heart surgery and she was out for months, And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was a more invasive surgery back then than what it was now, but that's where Katie's mind was, is we've done this and it didn't end well, or, it didn't, the recovery wasn't well. Or this time, knock on wood, seems to be going much better. And they're actually going to be heading off to their winter place in Texas in a couple weeks. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's so great to hear. I mean, and not to be harsh, but what if it went the other way? Would that make you stop praying as often?
No, um, I've, uh, I think I've come to realize in the last probably 3 months that things are put in our way for a reason.
Mm,
Um, trying to explain to my kids, if Allison didn't make varsity basketball, well,
mm,
why? Maybe there's a reason they want you on this team, or Blake with hot, certain things. So to me, if something, God forbid, would have happened to my mother-in-law, I think I would have. I mean, it would have crushed me at the moment, but I think Katie and I would have sat down and been like, okay, well, what were we supposed to get out of this? Like,
mm,
what are we
mhm,
going to learn? Where are we going to go from here?
mhm,
Whether it be maybe her mom would have had to stay with us forever then, and not go to Texas anymore.
mhm.
Luckily, that didn't happen. Luckily, we don't got to worry about that. But I don't think I would have stopped praying.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, those are very different things when something medically bad happens versus not getting on the basketball
Right.
team. But in both circumstances, you can find the good. And for basketball, it's like, yeah, I mean, you work that much harder and then you're making better habits for the rest of your life. I think God is trying to show you where you're stuck.
Yeah.
And that's why the bad things happen. Otherwise, if everything was good all the time, we wouldn't grow. We would
Right.
just literally stay the exact same.
hmm I try to ask my kids every day, what was the best part of today?
Mm,
Every day.
I love
And I
that.
think Allison gets more annoyed with it. I don't know, Dad. Comment on it. Like, no, what was your best part of school? And they don't get why. And then at the end of the day, there's so much negative in the world. Like, start picking out the
Mhm,
good things. Be happy.
mhm,
Like, even if it's just a little thing, what made you super happy today? And then all of a sudden she's in a great mood. You know,
mm,
she
mhm.
got in the car
Focus on
tonight
that.
and you could tell she was bummed about something. She wouldn't tell me what. Dropped her friend off and I asked her the question and again she was like, I don't know, it was Spanish class. And I was like, well, what happened in Spanish class?
Mhm,
She tells me and I was like, well, that's kind of cool. And the next thing I know, we're having a conversation and she's in a way better mood. And then she doesn't realize what it was, but I can see it now. Like, you're not focused on whatever crappy thing happened today. Your mindset changed.
mm,
So
mhm. And the more that they're resisting telling you what's going on is probably the more you have to push to pull it out because it needs to be pulled out that much more.
yeah, Katie once told me that I push sometimes too hard to get it out of them, so then they rebel back. So now
Mm.
it's the learning curve is asking the right questions on how to, um,
Sensitively
yeah,
ask, yeah.
Blake for the longest time wanted to quit his job. He hockey starting and senior year, and he doesn't want to miss out on things. And no, you're not quitting your job till you get a new one. Like that was my stance. Like
Mhm,
you will work. Like you're not just gonna do nothing. I mean, obviously he's playing hockey, but and finally, Katie and he every time he had to work, I'm gonna put
mhm,
my notice in. I'm gonna put my notice in. He was just finally we just said, fine, do it. Put your notice in. He's like, all right, I'm gonna put my notice in tonight. I said, fine, you do it. That's up to you. It's your call.
mhm.
Comes back after work. Yeah, Dad, I just think I'm gonna hang out and work through the end of school. I don't want to be broke. And he goes downstairs and Katie goes, I think it just needed to be his idea.
Yeah,
We pushed for so hard. No, no, no. And he wanted to rebel and he wants to be 18 and wants to be an adult and make a decision.
yeah,
And finally, when we said, go make the decision, he's like, oh boy, maybe it's not the right decision. And he came home. And
yeah. It's
so,
like he needed to know he had freedom
yeah,
and free will.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that there was going to be no rebuttal from me or Katie. Like, we weren't going to, well, then you can't take the car anymore. Like, we didn't want to come off that way. Like, well, that's fine. You're not going to work. You're not driving. Because
Mhm,
that's not fair to him either. I mean, he's
mhm.
had two jobs all summer. So, Yeah.
So it started just going to church more often, and now you're talking to God a little bit more throughout the day. Have you thought about, just letting God flood in and take complete control of that hole that alcohol left empty?
I don't know how that looks.
Yeah.
I think that's where I'm trying to get to, but being an addict, like I can sense myself being like, let's just immerse completely in the church. Let's do everything they're going to offer.
Mm,
I could go that route, but I don't know that I'm ready for that yet either.
hmm
Um,
But it doesn't have to be physically there. It can just be like your relationship
right.
day by day, like talking to God more.
Yeah. But again, I don't know, from never doing it to now
Yeah.
doing it as much as I am
Yeah.
was a change. So
Yeah.
I want to get there, and I want to get to that point of, I think gratitude is what comes to mind. Like
Mm-hmm.
Katie kind of laughs because I wake up and I say thank you, I bet 50 times before I even get in the shower in the morning. Like, I get out of bed and both feet hit the ground. I say thank you. I go,
Mm,
and it's not even thank you for anything in specific. It's just coming up on 1,000 days of sobriety. I didn't think was possible,
mm-hmm.
and so I do thank him every day.
Mm-hmm.
I have to, because there are times where things get tough and dark, and it's like I could easily fall back and fight my depression with booze again.
Mm-hmm.
And fortunate for me, I think Katie would stay because she stayed for 17 years. Unfortunate for her because she doesn't deserve that either.
Mm-hmm.
So
But now she gets this joy of how great it is, and she had that contrast. Sometimes the
I
contrast
hope
is
it's
what
great.
really
Yeah.
makes it
Yeah.
so beautiful.
Yeah.
And I like thinking of the gratitude as a
Hmm.
gratitude practice, because it takes a lot of work to remember to be thankful all day long.
Right.
And I think the whole relationship with God can be a practice. Some religions use the word practice more than others. Don't hear it very much in Christianity,
Mm.
but, getting close to God takes work and
Yeah.
it's practice.
Yeah. The gratitude thing is huge for me right now. I think that's what's more filling that hole than
Mhm.
the church thing.
Mhm.
Um, just like truly being thankful for everything that's out there. I mean,
Mhm. Yeah.
it's crazy on the wavelengths that you can go on, and all of a sudden it opens up other doors and avenues that weren't there a week ago. But because you're on that level now, all of a sudden
Mhm.
you meet somebody, and or end up somewhere and something happens. So
Mhm. Yeah, because I think of the universe as this living, live thing,
yeah.
and when you tell it what you want, when you tell it that you're thankful for things, it gives you more of those things to be thankful for. It's going to throw curveballs at you to show you where you're stuck,
Hmm.
but yeah.
It was a great reality check to me, because when I was telling my family about this and they see me read, I think last time I talked, I had started reading, and I think I've finished my 11th book
Oh
since
yeah.
May, and I
Wow.
wanted 8. And that was my goal, was 8, and I'm down with 11 now. But a lot of them were based on that,
Yeah.
and being thankful and gratitude. And so of course Blake's like, well, thank you for a new hockey stick. And it's like, well, we're not getting rich because we say thank you, but
Mhm.
so it's been fun.
It's fun navigating that and figuring out you have to really feel thankful. You
Yeah.
can't just say it.
Right.
And I don't think you can be in a state of desire. Like, oh,
Yeah.
I want that hockey stick so bad. You have to just be thankful that it exists
Mm-hmm.
and just let it come to you
Right.
without, because if you're in a state of desire, then you are
You're not.
telling the universe that you don't have it.
You're not. Yeah. You're not
Yeah.
grateful for it.
Yeah.
You're without.
You're wanting
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
And it'll give you reasons not to get it.
Mhm.
I mean, it'll keep putting roadblocks as to why.
Mhm. Mhm.
So
I love that stuff. Do you know any of the names of the books that you read?
the one that I just finished was The Magic,
Mm.
part of the Secret series.
Mm.
Um, that was probably one of my favorite ones so far. And then, yeah, that was the one I just finished.
Awesome. Do you have
Yeah.
a next one ready?
I don't, and I was gonna go to Barnes and Noble today and look, and then I got called away for work for some stuff, and
Maybe I have one over there that you
maybe,
might like.
yeah. It's like, yeah, I'm open because
Yeah,
I
it's that
didn't get the.
divine timing again.
See, yeah.
Cool. So, alcoholism, you talked about with spouses and parents, like the effects that it has. Is there anything specific you wanted to get into with that?
I think the biggest thing I wanted to get out there is just the learning of the new. I wasn't certain where Katie was going to fall when all of a sudden this all came to be, and I wasn't the same guy she was with 17 years ago.
So, you had that fear.
Yeah, there was a big
And is
fear in
that
there.
alcohol like trying to grasp back onto you? Is it our ego? Like,
I think it was my ego. I think, you know, 20 years ago when we met and I was downtown St. Cloud at the bar every night, and, we're 21 and in college, and that was the life, to now being sober and not wanting to do that, my ego was like, you're still that guy. And then it was like, but you're not. And does she like the new mic? Again, she's never said she didn't, but the fear was there
I
of
bet.
this is completely grounds we've never chartered. So she's been a superstar. I think as an alcoholic, I didn't realize that it was going to be that big of a change. I just thought, like I said, I fixed the problem. Everything's going to be roses now. I mean, the issue we had was me being an alcoholic, so that's gone. So what can the problem be? And then
Life's just going to be perfect now.
if it was that easy, I would have quit
Yeah.
20 years ago. But
Yeah.
learning the, maybe I can help out more by doing more laundry. Maybe, we split finances in a way of like, you handle this stuff and I'll handle that. I mean, our monies are still our money, but it was just like stuff that I just put on her plate. Like, I want you to do it all. Because
Are you overcompensating now though and trying to just do
no,
everything?
no.
Okay.
At first I thought I was going to. At first I was like, I'm going to take on everything she offers because I don't want to upset her. I've learned to say no. I can't do that. Like, I've got to finish this, or I got to be able to handle this before I take any more on.
Good, that's healthy.
And the conversation we had probably about a month ago, she asked if I would take on some other stuff, and I just said I can't right now. And she made the comment, well, I've been doing it for 20 years. I get it, but if I go and take all of it, then does the resentment come back? Now am I going to be pissed off at you because you're dumping it on me, and I see you? It's not that it's right that she doesn't have the free time that I did, but I just don't want to take on everything and then it create issues later on, I guess. So.
Have you heard of Brene Brown?
Mm-mm.
She's an author and she has a podcast and she's big into vulnerability, but she has a system with her husband that when they get home after work, they ask each other what percentage they're capable of. So like, I'm at 80%, so that means I only have 20% to give. Like, or I've already given 80% today. And the other person will say, okay, well, I'm at 93 or I'm at 62. So then that's kind of how they delegate who is doing what the rest of the day. And I really like that idea.
Yeah, it'd be something to talk to her about because we can't give 100% all the time.
Yeah.
Like it's not possible.
Right.
And for 20 years, I basically forced it upon her to give 110%.
Yeah.
So.
And with this system, if every time you come home and you're like, you're always at a higher percent than the other person, then you're going to lose trust and the relationship's just not going to work out.
Got to be honest about it.
You have to be honest with yourself and that person for that system to work out.
I'll have to look into it. It's an idea. I like the compromise that we've made so far. I mean, little things that, putting laundry away to just cooking dinners. Last night the teachers had conferences from noon until 8:00. So making sure, not asking, what are we having for dinner? I don't know, she's working. So, and I'm fortunate enough to have my mother-in-law there cooking now anyway, but it's those little things that 3 years ago I would have dumped back on her. Like,
Yeah.
so.
You're living in the present more now.
Yeah.
And yeah, totally. If I had a husband when I quit drinking, I would have been very paranoid that they're not going to like me anymore.
It was a real fear. It was eye-opening, and it helped me a lot knowing she was still there and that she had reassured me. She's like, I'm not leaving. If I was going to leave, I would have left 15 years ago.
But can you imagine if, like, I mean, because that would be so ruthless if somebody stayed with you through the alcoholism and then you quit
And then
and then they leave? I mean, can you imagine the pain that
could I blame
would
her?
feel? So, of course, you're going to be paranoid about that or scared.
But I couldn't blame her, though, either,
Because sometimes when we do bad habits like drinking, I mean, it might just be like, well, then if they leave, then I have something to blame it on. So maybe the fear started before and it had nothing to do with the alcohol. You just always had that fear there and you had the alcohol to blame, and now there's no crutch.
Now
there's no blame.
Yeah, there's nothing there. She sees it. She partakes in a group and all that. And I think one of the biggest gut-wrenching moments for me was we were out to dinner one night. Her and I went Olive Garden or wherever. And do you realize I've been in an abusive relationship for 20 years? And to me, I'm like, I've never raised a hand at you. What are you talking about, an abusive relationship? She goes, no, like mentally, like everything was my fault. Everything I had to do, that hit me harder than anything.
And because she was in it, she couldn't see it. We just talked about how when you're in depression, when you're in an abusive relationship, you can't see it. My last relationship as well, I did not know until afterwards.
Right.
I was like, oh, that's what was happening. Wow. And then I had a family member say, yeah, he was trying to get your whole family against you the entire time. And I was like, well, I had suspicions of that, but I didn't realize the depth.
Yeah. Again, it was never violent towards her, but
right.
When somebody wants to go do something that's important to them, but no, because it wasn't important to me. She locked herself in a closet and basically didn't know who she was anymore. So yeah, when
she's just trying to keep the peace, she just didn't want to fight. So
she didn't want to cause any more waves because she had seen me at my ultimate highs, but she's also seen me at my extreme lows. So this all comes about, we're talking, and she tells me that, so the fear kicked back in, like, oh boy, is she getting ready to walk out? Like, she's already kind of planting a seed. Your mind starts racing and overthinking, when in reality, she just wanted to talk about what she had gone through for 20 years and that she does enjoy this new version. And that, again, I didn't realize you're falling in love with someone else. Like, I'm not the same guy I was 20 years ago.
Wow. Yeah. That is heavy.
It was. It is.
That's great. I mean, that she's growing so much too and having so many revelations. Wow.
And it's fun watching her now. You could tell she's happier, and you can see it with the things she does with her friends. You can see it with her ambitions. We talked about the meeting that her and Jenny are supposed to have coming up. Like, all of this stuff before she would put on the back burner now is on her forefront, and I can see her basically blooming into something very special. Like, she went into administration because when I was an alcoholic, it was like, we need the money. We're spending money on dumb things, and Mike's out just wasting money. She went back into teaching afterwards, and now you take a pay cut, but I see her much happier. And part of all that is she can now be what she wants. So.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that conversation. That is huge, and I hope that makes other people, men or women, realize how they're affecting other people in their lives without realizing it.
And just to be open and have that open line of communication, because it is different. It's a whole different relationship now. Much better for me in my case, but.
And so growing up with alcoholic parents, your dad for sure, was your mom
Yep, my
an
mom. Yep.
alcoholic too? What's something that you didn't realize wasn't normal until you got a little older that had to do with alcohol?
I thought it was normal to go and hang out in bars.
Hmm.
Now I see it. My son's 17, has a car, can drive. His buddy plays hockey down in the cities. They go down there on a Friday night, and all of a sudden I look at Life 360 and he's at Willie McCoy's at 11 o'clock at night. Like,
Mm.
dude, you're 17. Get up, But to me, that was normal.
Mm-hmm.
They were there with me for years. We'd
Mm-hmm.
take them to Kev's, we'd take them to the Crystal. They would sit there and watch us hang out with friends and play pull tabs and drink, and it was normal. And now I'm saying, like, that's not normal. Nothing good happens at those places
Mm.
after 10 o'clock at night. Like, why is there a 17-year-old there? So trying to teach him and Allison that's not normal. Most kids aren't sitting at a bar at 10 o'clock at night. I mean, I know you can go in there, but you don't need to be in there.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably the big thing that sticks out to Katie and I.
Yeah. Um, It's just ironic because I used to be jealous that my parents never did bring me to a bar. Like we didn't go out to eat at bars. So mom, don't be hurt by this because it's okay. But I also got jealous of my friends that got boxed macaroni and cheese because my mom only ever made homemade.
Yes.
So mom, I appreciate it
Yeah.
now. Sorry. But yeah, so there's a balance. I mean, you can bring kids to a bar, but yeah, if you're feeling like you did too much and you were growing up in a bar,
Yeah. Uh,
yeah, makes sense.
Not that he's doing anything wrong there, and not that they can't go and have dinner, and it's fine.
Yeah,
But
definitely not that
with
late.
limits. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can go, but get out of the bar by 10 o'clock. You're 17. You don't need to be there any
Mm-hmm.
later.
Mm-hmm.
So teaching them now again that that's not normal to just go hang out there.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah. My son turns 21 in less than 2 months, but I really don't think he's gonna be into the bar scene. I don't think many kids are.
I don't.
We talk
We
about that quite a bit.
You drive through town here on a Friday night, and it's pretty desolate, and it's
Yeah.
like
I feel
15
bad for
years,
the bar owners, but
100%. But 15 years ago, they were packed. I mean,
right.
when Katie and I first moved up here, I remember going to the Crystal on a Friday night, and it was shoulder to shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't walk in there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the reason why. I mean, I was there every night I could be, but
Right.
I don't think my kids are. And I think part of it is they've seen what my family has entailed, and the alcoholic
Yeah.
in my family. So I know Blake. I, I guess I don't want to say I know. I think he doesn't choose to drink when he goes out. I mean, I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure he has, and he's just
Mm-hmm.
not telling us. But even when he goes to a high school party, he'll be home at 6:30 in the morning, and Katie and I are like, "There's no way he drank last night because he would have been sleeping. He ain't getting up at 6 o'clock to come home." So,
Mm-hmm.
oh, let's see.
Yeah, I think that generation just watched their parents and was like, oh,
I don't need to do that.
doesn't look that great.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Is there any patterns that you saw your parents do that you swore you wouldn't do and you ended up doing when you were drinking?
For me, it was my dad took a lot of things out on me as his only son. My stepbrother wasn't really in the picture, but and I told Katie I'd never do that. I'd never do that. And now talking with Blake, he's like, "Why did you always do that to me?" And you start looking back, and it's like, I did do that. You know, I wanted him to grow up too fast. I think I wanted him
Mm,
to know right from wrong, and just do what's right and not make mistakes. And I never let him. I mean, he obviously made mistakes, but he felt he couldn't because I would get upset. And it's a conversation him and I had, and I was like, no, it's fine to make mistakes. It's fine to mess up.
mm.
I
It's
shouldn't have.
important.
It's very important. That's how you learn. Like,
Mm-hmm.
never going to learn if you don't make a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that's where I know I fell into that trap, and my biggest regret is doing that.
Yeah. Well, I'm very excited to reveal your words to you. So I asked you last week, to give me a list of 6 people that I could reach out to. And I reached out and asked them to describe you in 6 or 7 words. And then I put all those words together and put it into 5 themes. So, how did you pick the people that you picked?
Um, Obviously, my wife. Tony Faust is one of my best friends that I've known since 5th grade.
Mm.
Um, he was sober for about a year, and he had other reasons to get sober. And so when I decided to get sober, him and I kind of clicked. Um, Ulissa is a good friend of mine from here that I partied with a lot. And I was like, well, I want to get something from someone that I hung out with probably 4 or 5 times a week for the last 6 years to we don't hang out as much anymore. And not
Mm.
in a bad way, but again, like we talked last time, some people, whether it's me not reaching out to them or them not reaching out to us, it's a change for them too. Um, I forgot who else I put on
Well,
there.
Elissa was honored, she said, to
Oh.
be picked by you. So, that was nice. Do you have any guesses?
Loyal, trustworthy. Oh,
Hmm. Good guess. Your first word is loyal because 4 people said loyal. And I put under that category loving, supporting, caring, family, and hospitable. So, not surprising, huh?
yeah.
The second one is funny. 4 people said
Yeah.
funny. And I like that because that proves that even though you haven't drank for 2.5 years now, people still see you as funny.
Yeah. It's been great for the most part. Nobody shied away from calling to hang out. You know, obviously there's times where people are doing things where they know it's alcohol heavy and they won't reach out in fear that they don't want to be the one to set me back. But I still get calls all the time. You want to go do this? You want to go to a Vikings game? Do you want to?
Mm-hmm.
So it's been good.
Yeah, that's great. Third is adventurous. Few people said adventurous, courageous, intrepid, daring, outgoing, energetic, and awesome. And your fourth word is tenacious, driven, disciplined, determined, dedicated, strong, focused, punctual, and innovative.
Nice.
And fifth is noble. You're admired and genuine and joyful, kind, fair, and moral. So AI and I wrote a synopsis for you. In the end, it's not the drinker people will remember, but the noble man who makes life lighter, chases adventure, lives by loyalty, and is driven to the bone.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's one thing sober you does that drunk you would never believe?
Talk to God.
Hmm.
Um,
Never did at all before?
no, I mean, not in the sense that I do now. Before it was, why would you do this to me, God? Why is this happening, God? There was always the blame and the it's not my fault. Whose fault is it? Or why? Why? Where now, again, the gratitude comes in and just having the conversation with them of even of just how the day's going. You know,
Mm-hmm.
thank you for great traffic today.
Mm.
Um, simple things like that. Drunk me would have never done that.
Yeah, that's so great. So every conversation you did have with them was just blaming him and playing
Yeah,
victim.
yeah. It's the whole divine thing. This morning, I usually go to work. I'm in St. Cloud around 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. This morning there was a fatality accident on the road that I drive on. A little before me,
Mm.
but right around the time when I would have been in there.
Mm-hmm.
But I woke up this morning and something just told me, lay back down, hang out with
Mm.
Katie for a little bit. Like, because Katie didn't get up. Katie teaches in the morning too. She tutors foreign students online. And she's like, I'm not going to get up today. I'm going to sleep in. I'm like, well, then I'm going to sleep in. Would have never done it. And all of a sudden it's like, oh crap, it's 6 o'clock. I got to get to work.
Mm.
And then driving to work and I see university in St. Cloud's closed because of a fatality. I'm like, huh. Reading about it, it was probably 2 hours before I was going to go through there, but it was still shut down. So it would have just prolonged me even longer. So it was crazy.
My best divine timing story is one time we were bar hopping. We had a sober cab, but Katie Jo and I were explaining what divine timing meant to somebody. And then Katie Jo said, hold on, we got to turn around. I forgot my phone at the other bar. So the driver like slams on the brakes. And then she goes, oh, never mind, I found it. And then like we're at an intersection where we didn't have a stop sign, but the other side did. And they ran through it right in front of us. So honestly, if we hadn't slammed on the brakes thinking we left her phone at the bar,
T-bone.
like perfect collision. And we were talking about divine timing, having a conversation about it as this happened. So I will never forget that. That's why I know it's real.
It's there.
So what do you think about the last 2 years of sobriety? What's the part that no one sees, but that matters the most?
It is a struggle. It is hard work. Some people that I've talked to are just like, "Oh, it's just you're not drinking. It's not that hard." And it's like, okay, quit smoking cigarettes then. Honestly. But what matters the most is then I turn around and I talk to my 15-year-old, and she mentions on how proud she is because she knows it's not easy. And it's like, even though some people may think it's easy and it's not, the right people see that it's a struggle. The right people know that it's not easy.
The people that say it's not are lying to themselves about something.
They're holding back something, yeah.
Or maybe there's 1% of people on the spectrum of people that don't get addicted to things or don't have a problem quitting anything, but it's too bad that they don't have any empathy or understanding for how it is for other people, and that our brains are all wired so differently to like different things.
Yeah, it's if you're not an addict, to tell an addict that it's easy is kind of a slap in the face, but like you said, they're hiding from something. Because why do you have to diminish it? That was where I came when this person said, "Well, it's just not drinking. I can not drink." I'm like, well, then why aren't you? Like, why are you diminishing my progress? Like, what? I'm not putting it on you. Like, you do whatever you want, but don't tell me what I'm doing is easy, because it's not.
Right. Well, anything else?
No.
Okay. Well, this was super fun.
Yeah, this is great.
Come on again in a few months.
Anytime.
Awesome. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.